Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, it's Leave It in the Ring.
Now this is going to be a good fight. Arthur Abraham versus Andre Dirrell. It's happening in Detroit, Michigan. It was originally scheduled to be at the Agua Caliente, but Dirrell saying that he had injured his back. It got postponed for a later date, which comes down to March 27th. It's a fight that I'm really looking forward to, okay, because it's really an interesting fight. You know, Arthur Abraham, really honestly, in my opinion, is very underrated when it comes to boxing skills and knowledge, okay? This guy, to me, really honestly, is a very highly intelligent fighter. Very dangerous fighter. At 160, nobody wanted to fight him, not even Kelly Pavlik. Now moves up to 168, and not only does he move up to 168, he looks like he's very dominant at a 168, okay? Now, Andre Dirrell honestly has got a confidence boost in this fight, stepping in with Carl Froch for the first tournament stage. You know, a lot of fight fans and even writers believe he won that fight. I believe he won that fight, but that already being said, that confidence boost is not going to help him any stepping in with Arthur Abraham, because Arthur Abraham does not resemble anything that Carl Froch brings to the table. Carl Froch is a very, you know, he throws punches from the outside, and you know, he stands in front of me. He's got no head movements, doesn't have good defense, and really honestly, he was being outboxed for his last two fights, and he just kind of got away and got lucky by getting the decisions and KOing, you know, Jermaine Taylor. Now, that being said, okay, let's move on and see what Dirrell's got to do. You know, Dirrell obviously is facing a guy that's got earmuffs. He does the earmuff style, but he does it effectively. You know, what Arthur Abraham does is he walks you down, he walks you back, and then he explodes on you. He's not one of those guys that throws a 1-2. When he does drop, he drops about a 3 or 4 punch combination, okay? He does counter off of that earmuff style. He's very, very strong. He's really quick. And the other thing that I like that he does, he knows how to cut that ring off at times, okay? It's not like he just follows you around in the ring. He knows how to kind of shut you down. He allows you to really kind of open up and kind of expand your energy so that you slow down in the later rounds, because that's what Arthur Abraham tries to look for. He tries to bank on that, you know, or he tries to catch you when you least suspect it, because when you're opening up on him, you're thinking, okay, I got him because he's not returning to me. He'll just, boom, let it go, and he'll catch you unexpectedly because he's got a really, really fast, short, crisp, short left hook, okay? Now, Andre Dirrell did a lot of holding with Froch, and it was effective holding in his part, okay, because he was able to get away from the assault that Froch was going to bring. Now, with Arthur Abraham, it's a little bit different, because Arthur's hands are already going to be up, okay, and if that's one thing that Arthur Abraham's probably studied and looked at Dirrell, he's seen that Dirrell will throw flurries and then grab, okay? So that's what Arthur Abraham really wants. Honestly, he wants you to close the distance on your own. He doesn't want to really chase you down. If he can get you out a little faster and shorter, he's going to do that, okay? So when expect, you know, Dirrell to try to hold him, and you're going to have to expect right there and then that Arthur Abraham is going to let loose. He's going to explode with them short punches. Bing, bing. Okay, and that's what Arthur Abraham really wants. Like I said, he wants Dirrell to close the distance on his own, rather than Arthur going around and chasing the little rabbit, you know, jumping around in the ring. The thing, too, that Dirrell's got to look at, okay, is he's got to pace himself in this fight, you know. We saw the maturity level take a jump in the Froch fight, but now he's got to, honestly, he's got to have so much maturity in this fight that he's got to have the maturity of controlling himself and sticking to a game plan, not falling apart, not going off his athleticism, not going off of amateur fights, going off with the game plan of a pro fighter, okay? Because he's going to need to do that with Arthur Abraham in this fight. He's not going to be able to get away, like I said, with the holding, the running around. He's going to want to have to keep a certain rhythm, you know, and an effective rhythm that's going to keep Arthur Abraham in bay. And understand that every round and every second, every minute in the round, Arthur Abraham is going to be very dangerous. Now, trying to look for a knockout over Arthur Abraham, I wouldn't even look for it. Only time you want to look for that is if you're getting some good shots, and you know what? And if you land a good one and you see him rock your opponent, then you could jump on him. But you're gonna have to jump on him with caution, because like I said, Arthur Abraham's a good counter puncher, so he can clip you and hurt you at any given moment. He's a strong 168. So what is Dirrell got to do to try to break through the ear-muff style of Arthur Abraham, to be affected against the ear-muff style of Arthur Abraham, to break through that guard? Well, if anything, a lot of fighters, what I've noticed, back from the date of fighting Winky, even fighting Corte and Joshua Kaladi, a lot of fighters will shoot down the middle. Okay, and what that does is Arthur will basically will catch it. Okay. And he'll lock it. So what Dirrell's got to do, really honestly, is he got to shoot to the top of that glove. Okay, and what that would do is it will split it. And once it's split it open, then he can just boom, boom, drop his right. Okay, and he can do that all night, ding, ding. And what that'll eventually do is that'll make that split get up even higher. So now he's got the body to work. Bing, 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 bing. And then get out of there, He's got to make a commitment to a certain amount of punches, but he's got to have a lot of arm punches, okay? Which is, tip, tap, tap. Keep Arthur at bay. Keep him at that arm distance so Arthur can't counter over the top of his shots, okay? He's got to tap, tap, maybe 1-2 hard shots, step out, hard pivot, get him around. Keep Arthur turning, okay? Make sure that he's never set. Make sure that he's never ready to return a counter shot, so that he's always clear from danger. That's what Dirrell's got to do in this fight. He's going to have to make it a very boring type of fight, and he's got to really honestly be cautious, walking on glass through every single minute of the round in order to secure himself a victory. That's the only way I see him really honestly being victorious over Arthur Abraham. Now, Arthur Abraham, his game plan is to allow the younger fighter to get in and really use all his gifts and his immaturity in this fight, which is run around, try to hold, overexpend his energy so he tires out in the later rounds, and that's where Arthur Abraham comes on. That's where Arthur Abraham's going to be effective, because, see, really, what he's going to do is when your legs get tired out from doing all the running around the ring and trying to hold it, you're overexcited, and when you're overexcited, your muscles are tight, you end up, expending more energy than what's needed, and Arthur banks on that, okay? If there's one thing that Arthur does is his timing, and his patience that's his armor stepping into the fight. So that's what's going to do is in the later rounds, it's going to allow Arthur to really walk down on his opponent, cut the ring, keep that earmuffs, and then open up, trap him, and hurt him, okay? And if that's one thing that Arthur's very good, is that when he hurts you, he knows how to finish you off. So that being said already, what do I see with Arthur Abraham versus Andre Dirrell in this match? Well, I still say the maturity level has not taken much of a leap, okay? I don't see, really honestly, Dirrell maybe sticking to a game plan for 3 to 4 rounds, even 5 rounds. But eventually, Arthur Abraham is going to make him aware that he's in the ring with them and land some pretty heavy shots. And that's going to actually probably mess up his game plan. Because like it's that old saying, everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the face. And that's what obviously is going to happen with, Andre Dirrell. Is he's going to have a game plan until he gets punched in the face by, the King. And after that, I think the King, Arthur Abraham, is going to take over, and it's just going to look like a replica of all the other fights that Arthur Abraham has done. The only time I've ever seen Arthur Abraham look a little puzzled is that, when you push a bull backwards, and you face the bull, and you fight him in the inside effectively, and you're throwing hard shots, he gets confused. And that's something Dirrell could look at too. When Edison Miranda fought Arthur Abraham in the very first match, Arthur Abraham did have some problems in there, but he did adjust. So that's the thing. That's why I say he's a very intelligent fighter. Is Dirrell's not fighting a one-dimensional fighter, in my opinion. Multitask fighter in this fight. Okay, so he's got to be prepared. He's got to have an A, B, and C plan. And unfortunately, when you got a world-class fighter like this, like Arthur Abraham, who's in his prime and who's a big puncher since Tito Trinidad, in my opinion, that spells destruction. And that, to me, it's very hard to pick against Arthur Abraham at this moment. So I got Arthur Abraham for a possibly late stoppage over Andre Dirrell in this fight. I'm your host, Dave. Doing this be another edition of The Will Be Blown. Oh, and by the way, if you're in Detroit, make sure you look for us. We should be having a booth there at the Detroit Joe Louis Stadium. Come down and purchase your shirt. We'll be down there. Okay, brothers? Take it easy.